Coleman scheduled to race here in the 5,000. Just a couple of nights removed from his victory in the 10,000. Under the lights here at the Paul Durr track. What about the challenge physically of coming back from a 10,000 to race a 5,000 after such short rest?
It's tough, no doubt about it. But these guys are so well trained, you know, that there's Mullarkey. That's the big story for the team race right there. David Mullarkey, he's run 13:37.88. Can he score? It's the big question. He was 11th in the indoor 3,000. But anyway, as far as doubling back in a 5K and 10K, I mean, it can be done. Tui could have come out tonight and run the 5,000. I mean, look, she ran a 5,000 at the collegiate record level on a Saturday night and comes back on Thursday. You know, obviously, it's a few more days than what these guys are dealing with. But they're all prepared going in to do that. To me, the tougher doubles are the 400, 800 doubles with 30 minutes in between, because you're just wiped from the 400, and then you've used all this anaerobic energy up. It's a little easier to recover in the longer distances.
Now, we saw some of the athletes in those 400, the 800, 200, saving energy in the prelims, just trying to do what was necessary to qualify, but knowing that they would have to run again in such a short turnaround time.
You know, there are athletes in this event that are fresh. I'm looking right now at the line. I see Sam RIVERA of Duke. He is not a factor necessarily, but he's fresh, and he probably got a shot to break 14 minutes for the first time in an outdoor race for him. We're looking for some of the stars, and we're not seeing all of them. Like we said, Solomon we haven't found. I haven't seen Faccioni right off the bat. And then, of course, Paul O'Donnell, Lopez Segura. Lopez Segura, is that him? Is hip number 11? That is. Segura is in the race. He's in the back row.
And again, they could be on the start list but elect not to race. They could be a scratch. So
Luke TEWALT is running for Wake Forest.
We're finding out on the fly with a lot of these.
That's right. But again, the big story in the team race, because of the nature of their squads, Clemson and Louisville do not have a dominant figure. Louisville lost their 10K guy before the meet started. He was going to be perhaps second in the 10,000. He didn't run. He's gone.
So with it so close here at the top, Norm, coming down to the final events, how do you see these points playing out?
If Florida State can get, say, a third in this with Mullarkey, and then come back with a good 4x4, they might have enough. I'm really thinking they're probably only about 6th in the 4x4, so that'll only get them 9 points. Clemson can win the 4x4, so they've got the best shot. If Clemson wins the 4x4, they'll probably win the meet. On the other hand, if Mullarkey can get a second or win, then Florida State's got the best shot because they're scoring in 2 events. That's the big difference. For Louisville and for Clemson, you know, they're limited to the 4x4 at this point. Now, if you wonder what Louisville can do in the 4x4, I'm thinking 3rd place for them, which would give them 6 points.
And so it's the only event left on the women's and the men's side, the 4x400 relay.
Other than the 5,000 here, right. So that's why this is such a big opportunity for Florida State if Mullarkey can get the job done. Now, that's a lot of pressure to put on a sophomore. But again, he's run 13:37. He's 33rd in the nation, and he was 11th in the indoor 3K. So it's not beyond that he could, combine with their 4x4, score 11 points. And that's what they would need to do. They need to get 1 more point than Clemson if Clemson wins.
And remember, Clemson has had some opportunities that they have missed along the way today, including Jovan Martin, who was a huge favorite in the hurdles. He wound up falling over a hurdle and did not get what many expected to be a win and the maximum points as a result.
Well, that's what makes these team titles so hard to get. I mean, Duke had a couple things go wrong from the last, 4 outings here in ACCs, and this is the first time they've come away with the team title, because things happen in track meets. Now, like I said, oddly in that one event for Clemson, they got DQ'd, but that ended up actually gaining them points because they went 1-2. So,
and we've seen a lot today. We've seen athletes fall. We've seen teams come up short when we expected them to do better. We've seen others exceed expectations, and we've seen disqualifications from winners on both the men's and the women's side as well.
Yeah, you hate to see the DQs. Now, some of these today were probably well-deserved, but, you know, these kids train so hard for these championships, and you don't mind being beaten on the track, but you hate to lose otherwise. So, you want to know what's happening in this race? They're running about 65 pace because they were 210 at the 800. They slowed down a little bit to 243 at the 1K, but that's really not too much of a slowdown. It's a 33 second. So, you know, they're running right around 65, 66 pace through the first K. And that, of course, is being led by Daleen Ackley of Notre Dame. Antonio Lopez Segura now in second. Colton Sands of UNC in third. And Wes Porter, the Virginia runner, who was a sub-4 minute miler as a freshman. He's right in there too. He's currently in fourth. Now Virginia is a little too far back, I think. You know, there's too many things Virginia would have to do right, and their 4x4 is not a factor, I don't think. Well, wait, their 4x4, they could score 5 points in the 4x4. So Wes Porter could make the difference here. So I would say Wes Porter and David MULLARKEY are kind of the keys to not letting Clemson off the hook. If these guys don't score significant points here, Clemson just needs to roll out that 4x4, and they probably got it.
Well, 5 different schools have won a title here today on the men's side. Notre Dame has not, but
Notre Dame's Ackley just
we
stepping off the track.
Ackley from Notre Dame pulling off, and now Virginia Tech taking up the lead.
Lopez Segura, maybe not expecting it just quite then, but he is our new leader. Colton Sands of UNC in second. Wes Porter now moving up to third. If Wes Porter could just finish in third, that would get them 6 points. And if their 4x4 runs as expected, they would get 5 points, and they would win the team title by 1. How about that for a Cavalier possibility, a legit possibility?
Not often do you see so many teams with a legitimate shot coming down to the final races.
And now look at UNC, 3 Tar Heels in the top 5 right now, taking over control of the race up front. I am guessing that Coach Chris Miltenberg is saying, we don't need to let this slow down. UNC, technically, if they got 1-2 in the 5,000, they could win the whole thing, because that would give them enough points to really make Clemson have to run fast. I mean, there's lots of possibilities. So I can guarantee you that UNC would score somewhere in the 4 or 5 range and the 4x4. So there's a lot of things that can happen. 6 teams definitely still in this thing. And I bet you Miltenberg is telling his guys, if we can get 1-2 or 1-2-5, some kind of mission like that, we could win the team title.
And remember, only 3 schools on the men's side have actually won the team title over the last 2 decades. So it's largely been just 3 schools, Louisville, Clemson, and Florida State. And the Seminoles come in here this year as the 2-time defending champions as well.
Well, I don't know the exact year for UNC, but I can tell you this, in 32 years that I've been around, UNC hasn't won a team title. So on the men's side, they've won plenty on the women. You know, it's been a while for them too. So yeah, it would be, those guys must be psyched out of their skins right now, because you're getting them the word from coach that we got a chance. And that's all you want, is that 5K runner at the end of the day, is give me a chance. And now look at this extended lead by Marshall Williamson. He just ran 67 on the last lap, which is almost as, Miller's ran 67 as well. Tatter of UNC, who had the great 10K, right, Tatter? Or was it the 1,500? There's too many races into this weekend.
Well, UNC has the front 3 right now. Absolutely. Here in the men's 5,000. 6 laps left to go in the final distance race here in Raleigh, North Carolina. Four laps left to go here in the men's 5,000 at the ACC Outdoor Track and Field Championships.
Okay, our ace statistician, Dave Martin, has reminded me that UNC actually last won the men's title in 1999. So I don't want to shortchange them. And Dave also suggested that should the Tar Heels win, they should party like it's 1999.
He could have left out that last part. I mean, that was kind of corny, I'm going to say. But it's still a long time.
It still illustrates that it's not every day that UNC wins a men's team title. They're leading 1-2 in the 5,000 right now. If they were to pull that off, they do have a shot at winning the team title. But there's a lot of good runners, and look who's joined the party. David MULLARKEY of Florida State is in the mix. And again, Florida State combo of 5K and 4K is probably the most promising. Also, given that they're dead even with Clemson at 82 apiece going into the last two events.
And now
Eliason of Virginia.
UNC just pulled off the track as well.
They still have two up near the front, but yes, Williamson was thrown in that, obviously, to keep the pace honest. Last lap for Jack ELIASON of Virginia, who took the lead, 66.86, fastest lap I think we've seen so far today. Segura still in second. MULLARKEY now in third. So MULLARKEY of Florida State, their key hope. Florida State tied for the lead with Clemson at 82, so there's MULLARKEY, Florida State in third. I think
it's a group of 8 at the front. They've got 3 laps left.
When 200 meters from now, we'll get you a 4K split. Luke TEWALT is in the mix, and TEWALT probably has the best kick of the lot. TEWALT also having the tough break yesterday, falling in the 1500. Didn't quite run perhaps as well as he would have liked to in the 1500 final today. This is his best last chance to come away with a great ACC memory. And he looks very strong right now, right behind MULLARKEY. The only difference for TEWALT is that Wake's not in the team race where MULLARKEY is. And that sometimes can really power you through.
And also for Virginia
Tech
and Jack ELIASON, the junior at the front, also keeping the Cavs' hopes alive.
Yep. Cavs have to score a little more points than Florida State to win the thing. They're 7.5 back of Florida State. Virginia Tech, 9.5 back of Florida State. So
2 to go. 2 laps remaining.
Bob Brayman, who's been through so many of these battles, the head coach of Florida State, got to be anxious as could be right now, coaxing David MULLARKEY, his sophomore, who has run 13:37, to hang in there, knowing that he can handle this. We're coming up now. Is this 600 to go? 600 to go.
So it's still ELIASON, Antonio Lopez Segura, and now TEWALT is in third.
Do not count out TEWALT or Segura.
Remember, Luke TEWALT, the sophomore from Wake Forest, had that fall in the 1500 prelims, but still recovered to advance. He's shown how resilient he can be. And now for Virginia, Johnson is moving up through the ranks.
Bell lap, just 400 meters separating these athletes and a 5,000 meter ACC title. Derek Johnson of Virginia, followed by his teammate Jack ELIASON. That's a great combo for Virginia.
So 2 from the Cavs,
Segura.
but now here comes Lopez Segura, the native of Barcelona, Spain. Ranked #1 in the ACC in the 10,000, but showing his chops at half that distance.
TEWALT needs to get around Johnson if he's to have a chance, but Segura looks great with 150 meters to go.
He has found another gear. He has stepped on the pedal, and it's to the floor.
TEWALT moving into second. That puts Virginia back in third and fourth. Less points for the Cavs, but Virginia Tech's going to get the victory, and TEWALT is going to get second for Wake Forest.
Antonio Lopez Segura, a bulldozer for Virginia Tech. And the Hokies win for the 3rd time today on the men's side.
11 points for the Virginia Cavaliers, 10 points for Virginia Tech. Moving both those squads temporarily ahead of Clemson and Florida State. And they do have 4x4s.
It's going to come down to the final race of the championships.
In fact, Virginia Tech may win this whole thing. They could easily finish second or first in the 4x4. It's going to be an exciting conclusion.
The Virginia Tech men looking to go back-to-back from winning the indoors this winter to winning the outdoors here in the spring. And a large part of that is this man, Antonio Lopez Segura. Watch this move.
He is great in traffic, as he just showed us on this replay, just weaving through guys. And as good as TEWALT is as a kicker, Lopez Segura really put the hammer down. His last 400, 55-36. TEWALT's last 400, 56-78. Johnson and Eliason for the Cavs, though, getting the third and fourth. Again, that's 11 big points for the Cavaliers. And the Cavaliers are capable, like we said, of scoring in the top 4 or 5 in the 4x4.
So Antonio Lopez Segura, third in the 10K 2 nights ago, first in the 5K today. And the Spaniard is now with our Haley Hunter.
Thanks, Steve. Antonio, wow, a big comeback there. Where did all that energy come from on that last lap?
Well, all the energy comes from my team, supporting me, making me be better. Team title is a different beast than individual titles, and at Virginia Tech, we'll do whatever it takes to win as a team, because we're family.
Yeah, tied at the top heading into this event. A huge jump now for you guys after that, your performance there. How much extra motivation, thinking about the team there, did that give you?
A lot, because, 10K is a hard race, and, I was very sore coming out of that, and the only motivation I had is perform for the team and for my family back home and my wife. Big support. When in indoors, I was not doing well, injured and all that. They picked me back up and allowed me to be the best version I can be right now in outdoors.
Amazing, really well done. Love the support. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Steve.
Busy guy, just graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer science, got engaged to teammate Ashley Smith, and gets the win as well here today in the 5.